Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for all your prayers. We really had a good trip up to New South Wales, and we are happy that we back safely now back to Melbourne. Francis asked me to do a devotion on anything that I may fail to share with you. And so I wanted to share some thoughts on on reading the Bibles because I feel that I benefit a lot this year from reading the Bible and also from forming a habit of regular prayer. But this morning I want to say something about the Bible reading. As I shared previously with some of you, that I actually become a Christian and got baptized more than 20 years ago. But unfortunately, that was to me at that time, it was just like a special encounter with God. It's like waving the hand with God and to be happy to seemingly join the family. But in fact, because I did not actually join a church service on the regular basis, and also at that time did not join any Bible study group. And then later on, we all moved back to China and worked there, lived there for 12 years. So I didn't even dare to call myself a Christian at that time because I don't even go to the church. But God, thank God that God has not forgotten me and called me back when we moved back to Melbourne about already 9 years ago. And then I joined the church service at Holy Trinity Q. I enjoyed the fellowship. I enjoyed the church environment. I always enjoy Rick's sermon. I always say, because that's the only time that I felt God's words was relevant to me. And that, again, it's because myself has not really seeking God on a daily basis. So it's not until about a year, I think last year, Francis started this Bible study group at his home on a regular basis. And I was really inspired by all the Bible study fellow group members. Their knowledge of the Bible, their knowledge of God, it's really inspired me. And I see they actually also putting God's knowledge into their daily life. And I can see that the assurance just by knowing God in their what that have done to their life. I can sense that the peace, and I can sense that how God is working in their life. So that made me really that I was really inspired. That so started to read the Bible and seeking God. I think that only from that time I was really starting to seeking God seriously. And thanks God that when I start to seek God, God also opened lots of doors. So I joined the BSF study in Q, and also thanks to thanks to Lisbeth's phone. We have two Lisbeths here. Lisbeth introduced me app it's called Bible in 1 Year with Nikki Gumbel. And also I have a group of friends that we know each other from high school time. And surprisingly, And also in the recent years, they all become Christian and also starting to seek God seriously. So we often share the verses with each other, and since we know each other from high school, and we also share our life, some part of bad or not or good, we encourage each other, and we use God's words to encourage each other, and that was really encouraging. That made me to want to know God's word even more. So with this app, Bible in 1 year with Nikki Gamble, I also shared with them. So I was pretty excited because I have, to be honest, I have never finished reading Bible once, like from first chapter to the last chapter. Some chapter I read a few times because it's interesting. Some chapter it's just very dry. But we committed to finish this Bible in 1 year time. So now each day we will tick. I must say I fall a bit behind because of the holiday, but I will catch up. So with Nikki Gamble, this app, he puts the devotion in the beginning, and also he put the Old Testament and the New Testament together. So it makes much more sense. It's like he's using the thread, putting the jewels together, and then it's all becoming many beautiful bracelets and necklace. So I really admire his knowledge of the Bible, and I find that this is the way. Actually, this is also a way that we can learn from him to read the Bible. Yeah. So only when I start to read the Bible on a regular basis and also pray on a regular basis, God's word become relevant in my life. And only when God's and God becoming a living God to me, and only when God becoming a living God, I started to understand God's words better, and I understand also the word better, and of course understand my own life better. Things has changed in my life, and also I must say in my family life. So I really thank that those people who have encouraged me to read the Bible and to follow Jesus Christ. Recently, I'm reading on the Bible reading was on Job. So through Job's story, we see clearly how God has shown his power and God's love for Job. And we also see how Job kept trusting God in his suffering. So he was full of faith, we know, in the midst of his suffering. And Job said, "When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold." So that's a really encouraging story that Job has set a great example for us. And we know that Job's story. I'm also, and through Nikki Gamble's explanation, I can see that as a friend, because we see in the story that Job has eyes, and but it was but actually did not come to the great comfort. So we also can learn how we can be a friend, a true friend, a godly friend to each other. So God's words is full of wisdom. Although it was written thousands of years ago, it's still relevant because I know, well, because we know that God is a never-changing God. God's purpose and God's love is all presented in His words, which is the Bible. So I encourage each of us read Bible on a daily basis, and especially for those the young adults who are among us. I encourage you to read the Bible, to meditate on the Bible. If I read the Bible seriously at your age, I'm sure I would be much wiser and stronger. So that's all from me, and thank you for your attention. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Lucy. That's great sharing. Thanks again.